So I will often have patients come in and ask me about their rotary cup, their rotator cuff, but actually, I'm just kidding. All kidding aside, the rotator cuff. And what is the rotator cuff? Well, the rotator cuff, and I'll tell you, orthopedic surgeons are not the most creative. Here's the deal. There are 4 muscles that surround the top of the shoulder joint. Like this cuff, C-U-F-F, surrounds my wrist, okay? And essentially, there are 4 muscles that surround the top of the arm bone like a cuff. And each of those 4 muscles move the arm in a certain way. One of them raises the arm, another one brings the arm in, and 2 of them bring the arm out. So each of them rotate a certain way. They form a cuff. We call them together the rotator cuff. Now, what do you need to know? What you need to know if you're dealing or struggling with this is, what does it look like? How do you treat it? What is the ultimate outcome for you? In other words, how does this impact your quality of life? All right, so let's start with, what does it look like? A lot of patients will confuse rotator cuff, not confused, they don't really know. They'll think that they have a rotator cuff problem because they have an MRI scan that has a rotator cuff tear, or their buddy told them they had a rotator cuff tear, or their neighbor, or whatever. But they'll confuse it with arm pain. Okay, I want pain down the arm. Oftentimes that's biceps pain, and I refer you to my video on biceps problems for that explanation. But rotator cuff pain actually isn't pain during the day. Rotator cuffs don't hurt during the day. When they hurt is when you go to bed. And most patients will say that when they lie down to sleep, the shoulder starts to ache and they cannot find a comfortable position to put the arm in so that they can fall asleep. When they finally find that position, pillows, this, that, and the other, they fall asleep, they move, it wakes them up again, and around we go all night long. The biggest pain problem with the rotator cuff is a lack of sleep, and that's number one. And I told you before in my other videos that I always play in the shoulder realm between 2 issues for my patients: pain and function. The other reality of rotator cuff tears is the function loss. So it's weakness. When the muscles are inflamed, a rotator cuff, what we call tendonitis, which is really not a tendonitis, but we'll talk about it. We call it a tendonitis. You'll have weakness in that muscle. If it's the muscle that goes out, you're gonna have weakness in the muscle that goes out. If it's the muscle that goes up, you're gonna have the weakness in this plane going up, okay? But the point is you'll have weakness. If it's torn, you will obviously have weakness. If the muscle tears, and what does it mean for a muscle to tear? This is a model of the arm bone, the top of the arm bone. And the muscles actually attach to the top of the arm bone around in a circle like a cuff, I told you. And if when the rotator cuff tears, it actually usually attaches like this onto the muscle and pulls off. When it pulls off, that muscle cannot contract and raise that arm or move that arm because it's no longer attached to the arm. That's what a rotator cuff tear is. It's a tearing away of the muscle from the bone that's attached to, that normally it moves when it contracts off. So that's what it is. So you'll have a functional loss, you'll have pain at night. How do we treat rotator cuff tears? Well, it turns out that there are really 3 variables that impact how I look at rotator cuff tears. Number 1 is age. Number 2 is the size of the tear. And number 3 is the quality of the muscle on MRI or CAT scan. Okay. In other words, there's a relationship between, typically, not everybody, but most, okay, a relationship between the age of a rotator cuff and the amount of degeneration in the muscle itself, meaning the quality of the muscle. What is it you're going to repair? In other words, how good is it? And the size of the tear. So as people get older, they tend to have bigger tears, and they tend to have tears of muscles where the muscle itself is not that good. In other words, if you were to repair that muscle and do everything correct as a patient and a doctor, the outcome would be limited because the muscle itself's not that good. What you're repairing, it's a materials issue. What you're repairing isn't that good. So those are the kinds of things I'm looking at for patients with rotator cuff tears. Obviously, if you don't have a tear, tendinopathies or tendonitis, let's call it for the sake of this video, tendonitis, they get better. Cortisone shots, a little therapy, those will get better. And the maddening part about this all, okay, is that even people, I've got many patients with very large rotator cuff tears that can move their arm everywhere. After you give them a cortisone shot, they do a little therapy, they don't have the night pain. In other words, what I'm saying is they have large rotator cuff tears, terrible muscles, et cetera, but their brain is able to compensate with the other muscles, because I told you the rotator cuff has 4 muscles, but there are 17 muscles in the shoulder. Some people are able to do it, some people can't. It's like some people can dunk a basketball, some people can't. I don't know why, they just can't, okay? So, but make a long story short, the reality of it is that there are people who have these problems and they really are asymptomatic. So those, good for them. I don't touch them. I tell them, go, baby, go. On the other hand, the people who come to me and are symptomatic, it's this play of, hey, how do you look at this? In 2025, I'm going to tell you that amongst the people who have rotator cuff tears, okay, if it's a decent muscle, and there are scaling systems, like in grade school, you have A, B, C, D, F. We have a similar, in the shoulder world, scaling system on how to grade the quality of the muscle. So if we have a patient in general who's, 60 and below, but has decent, doesn't have to be great, but decent muscle, I'll oftentimes repair that, okay? Not replace the shoulder, because today it's really about, do you replace a shoulder in order to address the rotator cuff? And if that doesn't make sense to you, watch my video on the reverse shoulder replacement, okay? Or do you repair the rotator cuff? And I'm trying to make it simple because it's easier to understand when I say it like this, but understand that there are caveats. Of course there are, it's humans, right? The caveats are things like if you have a heavy laborer. I'm in Cleveland, we got a lot of steel workers, they have a heavy labor, they need a strong shoulder. Okay, so I'm tend to replace those shoulders if it's a really not good muscle, because what difference does it make if I repair it and it doesn't work that well? That guy, or typically men have in the steel yards, that guy needs his arm to work well, all right? So a replacement will do better, will have much more strength than a repair in that case. But, by and large, if it's a decent enough muscle and a person's less than 60, I'll repair it. As you get close to 65, it becomes much more risky to repair a rotator cuff. And understand, even in the best repairs, okay, will only often last, if everything's perfect, in other words, if the patient's not too old, if their muscle's really, really good, and you do a really good job, and they do a really good job of rehabbing it, those repairs last 10 or 15 years. Eventually they re-tear. That's how they got the first tear to begin with. There was something wrong, intrinsically wrong, with their rotator cuff. So as you get close to 60, 65, or past that, or around that age, the chances that the rotator cuff repair will work. And when I say that, I don't mean that a surgeon can't get it to work for a year or two. I say that within a 5-year window, okay, that it'll fail again, the repair will fail, and they'll end up with a replacement 5 years later. That risk becomes much higher as you get close to 65. Most patients don't want to come back 5 years later because it takes a year to rehab a rotator cuff. It takes, 3 to 6 months to rehab a shoulder replacement. Shoulder replacements will last 20, 25 years, the reverse replacement. So that calculus becomes very easy. If you get towards your 60s and your muscle isn't very good, and you're looking at, do I do a rotator cuff repair versus a replacement? Most of my people, I'll give them the option, but most of my people will choose a replacement because they want the long-term benefit of quicker rehab, and they don't want to see me again, frankly. You know what I mean? So those are the kind of, insights I want to share with you about rotator cuff.